Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be moderating this session. So the topic of this panel is CTV Rollercoaster, a ride throughout the year.
I would not say a roller coaster, it's a juggernaut.
Okay, Vikram. So let's start with you. Let's talk about how has a journey from linear TV to connected TV has impacted media planning and audience reach, and what are the implications for advertisers?
Firstly, it's thank you Rahul and team for inviting. I think you guys have been the one torch bearer for CTV mainstreaming in India. Just to basically summarize of what you have just said, the journey from a linear TV to smart TV, it's just not started. Everyone is just scratching the surface. But one of the good things that has happened is that over the years, TV wasn't touched by any ad tech, and TV is largely been our main media buy over the years, and this has been worth of decades. And a lot of colleagues of mine within the agency world have invested huge amount of time, money, resources in building the entire TV advertising ecosystem. What is smart TV or possibly connected TV got to them is the entire democratization of data, insights, and making how in future how the planning and buying is going to be much more intelligent, much more data targeted. So the tons of experience that has come across with them over the decades of how they have bought traditional TVs is again going to get augmented, and a further new paradigm of how the new TVs, smart TVs is going to change the entire ecosystem. So just to take an example, with a smart TV coming into an household and getting connected to the internet, you are exactly able to find out that what is the location of the TV, what is the size of the TV, what is the price of the TV, what is the TV being, what is TV serving, or what is being viewed on the TV. So with all these contours coming onto the planning side of the business, so the journey from linear TV, where people did not have much information, traditionally only dependent on a few numbers that used to come out of the industry bodies. Now they have OEMs like us who are giving them so much insights onto viewership data. So thus the journey from linear TV to smart TV is going to be much more intelligent and much more smarter. And this is possibly going to change the TV advertising for better and forever.
Of course. So Chandrahas, how does CTV fit into larger media landscape and the concept of omni-channel marketing?
Firstly, thanks for having me. And if you see the numbers right now, with more than half of the population connected on internet, streaming is the preferred medium of choice, right? Mm-hmm. And Magnite also did an internal study where we found out that about more than 70% of the connected audiences want to now stream more content, more TV content and live content, right, as compared to linear TV. So we are, and right now if you see, it's mobile heavy, right? Most of the content consumption is happening on mobile, but we are going to see the shift to CTV, and currently the numbers say that about 8 to 9 hours per week users are connected on CTV devices, right? And that number is close to 1 to 1.5 hours. So that's the shift that we are seeing in connected TV. And also there are two more aspects that we looked at. One is attention and action, right? Usually CTV is more of an immersive media, right? You're actually leaning back and you're watching that TV, either that the co-viewing is happening. So when you look at the attention numbers, we saw about 64% of the audiences pay more attention, right, to CTV ads as compared to the ads that you see on social platforms, right, which is almost 3x higher, right? When you look at action that's taken, even 68% of the users responded that they usually take either action that will lead to a purchase, basically, right? So what we are seeing is, yes, it's already a part of the omni-channel platform. You can't negate that. And advertisers and brands will move where the consumers are moving, right? Of course. So they are already on the platform. What the shift that we would want to see is, with more and more users spending more time on connected TVs and with the connected devices also. If you see, few years back, we had a choice between a linear TV and smart TV, right? Today, I think all the TVs sold are smart TVs. So we'll see those numbers grow as well. The connections will grow as well. And with this happening, the shift that we would want to see mostly is CTV is not an incremental medium, not just an incremental medium to TV, right? We would want to see that it should be ideally TV first. medium, and it should be ideally a connected TV first medium. And it's not just you buy when you are just wanting for premium or niche audiences. You usually look at CTV as one of the TV first. And with the growth in numbers and time spent, I think you will see that shift.
Of course. And what about the benefits that can be realized by integrating CTV into a comprehensive media plan?
One is for Magnite, what we do is entirely there is more than 45 OTT channels that is available in India only, right? And we are enabling all of this through direct connections. Now, what you can do is you now don't have to buy through different channels. You don't have to go individually. We are bringing everything to you on the table. When you look at programmatic channels as well, what we need to also understand is when the shift is happening to CTV, right, that's when more and more users are coming in. You'll see the benefit actually moving to more and more advertisers now investing into the medium as compared to what has happened earlier.
Thank you. And Rajit, are there any specific audience segments that have shown a preference for CTV content consumption, and what content types or genres are they gravitating towards?
See, thanks for having me here. A few things which are there upfront, and I'm just trying to build an overall construct of what the TV landscape is, because CTV is essentially part of the TV landscape and not part of the online video landscape. India has got about some 310 million households, of which about 210 million households have television, are television penetrated, of which about 90 odd million people are urban in that. Today, we have reached a situation where about 30-35 million of those people are accessing television through connected TV. So when you say about, and it's an assumption, it's not entirely borne out by fact, but if directionally, if 35 million out of the 90 million are connected TV, it's fair to say that 1 in 3 urban households are essentially connected TV households. That is not a small number by any yardstick. That's the first and foremost point which is there in here. To start with, even at the start of this year, when we had somewhere in the region of the numbers which were spoken about were somewhere in the region of about 18-20 million odd, which is there as the thing. Within this less than a year, you have seen over a 60-70% kind of growth which is happening. That is a massive growth. Maybe next year that growth percentage might not be at that same level, but the thing is that what you have is that instead of a niche, you have a mass which is now residing. If the same question were to be asked last year, I would have said that for connected TV, your audience has to be young, urban, and affluent. Now today, it is no longer the case of just being urban. Urban may still be a criteria, but affluence levels it does not necessarily need for you to be an HNI or even a significant taxpayer. Many a large number of people have access to the thing. So this is from a consumer sense. Now, obviously, there's a democratization of content which has happened. Consumption of content, I mean, see, obviously, when you have sport and cricket, then it unifies and that will be massive across the board, which is happening across the board. But the beauty of connected TV is that it is truly on demand. Content genres can cut across everything. But it is fair to say that it is the bulk of the thing is still your traditional dramas, followed by, outside of sport and news, it will be your traditional dramas, comedies, and but also a huge amount of niche content like documentaries, say something like a Vikram or Sly, whatever.
Vikram, you wish to add to this?
Yeah, definitely. So what just Rajit said, I'll just add. So if you look at the entire adoption of smart TV that has happened and how it has influenced the entire narrative, how we plan and how we address, CTV today somewhere stands at in the range of 35 to 42 million households in India. This is a number put out by ENY last year. We collaborated with them for a study. 9 out of 10 televisions that are sold in the market connect to the internet on the very same day. So if you look at the entire addressability part and what just we're looking at the growth numbers, every TV that is being sold today by any major TV manufacturer is a smart TV. It comes with an inbuilt capability of an operating system with all your apps. So as we speak, Samsung App Store on the TV has more than 1,300 applications. So TV is becoming like more of a what mobile was in 2007 post the launch of Apple. How the App Store took up. TV is also going in the same way. So tomorrow it may not be an isolated device just if you pull out the plug and you have those 7 rainbow strips or gray dots coming in. TV is changing that landscape. And when you look at the entire narrative that is put across the audience who are becoming much more and more addressable, because TV upgrade cycle is generally not like a mobile where you upgrade mobile phone like every 2 years. TV upgrade cycle is in the range of 5 to 8 years. And once you throw out a TV which was non-smart, and as soon as the smart TV comes in, you are able to ascertain the affluency of the household. Mobile was a V device, mobile was a me device, TV is a V device, because what we today can ascertain through a lot of signals based on viewership, based on the TV ownership, and based on the connected hardware, is the entire narrative of what is the household. So if an average 4K TV, which we sell today in the range of 40 to 50,000. If somebody owns a 4K TV, which is 40 to 50,000, has an internet connection in the house and possibly watches more English content, you can by nature assume that household is a affluent household. So a lot of signals that these are coming in are getting you much more insights into what the audiences are. And these are internal, these are again turning back into action-oriented marketing segments which you can reach out to. So purely what he just showed you the bigger picture, this is the part 2, that how the nuances of smart TV or a connected TV is changing the entire landscape.
Of course. So Chandrahas, back to you. Could you share your insights on the present state of programmatic advancements in the realm of CTV?
See, globally, if you see the numbers of programmatic, it's close to about 84% of total digital spends. For the next 2 years, we'll see a growing to about 87%. So that's the number we are looking at for 2024, 2025. India is not too far behind, right? We are still growing, and in fact, significantly, we have grown in the last 2 years. The numbers might look small as compared to global numbers, which is about 44% right now. But you see a lot of shift that is happening from traditional IO buys to programmatic guaranteed buys, right? So people are switching over to programmatic, and the number of advertisers who are wanting to buy on programmatic is now increasing. Having said that, we are also very excited to see live sports as a space growing, right? We, in fact, have advanced technologies called LSA, which is live streaming accelerator. So what it does is basically, it can also manage the spikes that you see on ads, right? So whenever you look at live sports, the concurrency suddenly goes up, right? And if you see World Cup, it was close to about 50 billion plus numbers, right? So our technologies can manage those ad spikes, plus programmatically it can also enable it to advertisers as well, right? So earlier what we were seeing is just few hundred advertisers who used to come on the platform, but now it's available to global advertisers. More than 1,000 advertisers or 2,000 advertisers can now buy live sports inventory online, right? And we already did it. We started with India, Australia, ODI. We were live with World Cup as well, PGPMP, and even today, I think India, Australia, T20 is starting, right? So we are also enabling those live sports inventory, and that's like a big play for us in programmatic, and live sports has the potential to disrupt the space as well, CTV space, and it can match the numbers what you see on TV, linear TV. So this is an exciting space for us, and the way also, if you see the buying that happens on display, that is more of an open auction buy, right? CTV is very different, right? CTV buying mostly happens on programmatic guarantees, right? So what we see is, one is live sports is an exciting space, and 2024 we are looking forward. We have an entire lineup of live sports happening for the next year, be it marquee events, be it non-marquee events, and with the technologies that Magnite has, SpringServe can handle those level of spikes that you see, plus we have the potential to also make it available to a larger set of advertisers. So we are very excited to see that what's happening in this space.
What about the key challenges or milestones that have been reaching this point?
So yes, live sports was one of the challenges.
Right.
If you look at few years back, right? That a lot of advertisers were wanting to buy live sports, but that was not being available, right? Publishers were apprehensive that should we go live sports on programmatic channels or not. So these were a couple of challenges that we solved this year, where it has to be a seamless experience, right? That is one of the challenges. If you see the ads might break, the experience might not be good. So we solved those ad spikes, and right now, one of the challenges that we enabled, yes, which was for us live sports, that is something that we enabled.
I'll just add to a point that you just raised on programmatic. See, what is fundamentally changing is that the TV buying cycle or the TV buying path, right from the publisher to the final advertiser, had huge amount of manual effort, where everybody used to just deal in a lot of ROs being exchanged and a lot hops and everything. With programmatic coming into this ecosystem, what has happened is that right from the path to execution and activation, so planning to activation, will cut short the entire journey, and you will be able to automate a lot of these processes. A lot of manual effort in taking the creative, making iterations is going to become a much more easier task to handle, because you will have a live panel and facilitators like SSPs, like Magnite, who are going to bring in those automations where you can handle the entire narrative around how do you manage your demand and supply. So what has happened, also what is in turn benefiting is that the publishers are able to realize much more fill rates on their unsold inventory, and they are also able to differentiate a new monetization path for them beyond their own offline buy. So eventually programmatic or ad tech is going to today streamline a lot of narratives which was already done in digital over the past decade. But in the next decade, the entire narrative around the TV buying chain and the TV supply chain is also going through that level of automation, which will bring in a lot of systematic changes where how the traditional TV used to be bought, and now the way with CTV coming in, a lot of these ecosystems will evolve.
Also to add there, the way the data is also being passed on programmatic pipes, that is also changing a bit from as compared to last year, right? So you see metadata coming in terms of what content is being consumed. So based on that, now the advertisers have an option to place an ad which is very similar to the content that is playing on TV. So that's the change that we have seen, which wasn't there earlier. And with more metadata coming in from the publisher side, there is more accurate targeting you can do based on the content that is being passed by the publishers.
Okay. So Rajat, are there any specific formats or storytelling techniques or creative strategies that have demonstrated success on CTV?
See, I think as an advertiser, it's about what are the desirable content things which one is really looking at, and anything which is brand safe and meets and is generally acceptable to a larger sensibility is something which people would want to go for. Having said that, just as a consumer and even otherwise, if you just look at it, you have things from the really niche to the really wide ones. I don't think any of us had seen a Korean drama till 2 years back or 3 years back.
We have a channel on Korean TV.
Okay, so, and then something called Squid Game happened, and then suddenly it just exploded. So today what is happening is that, which is the classic diffusion of innovation theory, of when content which is niche becomes mass and reaches a particular point in scale overall. What will happen is that you will have more, as increasing quality of regional supply, increasing quality of regional content supply just increases, you will have a lot more of that also happening, coming in overall. But I mean, you have great dramas, you have great thrillers, you have great documentaries, you have great game shows, you have great reality shows, everything which is there. There's an audience for everything on connected TV. It's sometimes just too much of it, but I mean, Bruce Springsteen had a song called 57 Channels and Nothing On. Today it's more like 5.7 million pieces of content and nothing on, but yeah, that's what it is.
Just want to add on the creative thing also. So if you look at how the earlier TVs, if you look at on the linear side, largely these were video creatives that everybody used to have. What with connected TVs coming onto the frame, you also will have innovations coming in on the creative side, because now if you have your remote controls, these are not the ones which were on the analog where you have 1, 2 10 numbers and you can't do anything. You have Bluetooth enabled remote controls which come with a touchpad which are voice enabled. You are today able to interact with those ads. So, and with shoppable commerce taking a mainstream.
Discoverability of
Absolutely.
the content itself
Yeah,
goes
so that
to
is going to, I think, see, what has happened is that with tech coming on board and with new creative formats coming in, TVs today are driven by operating systems which are nothing but smart ecosystems where you have multiple ways outside video also to interact with the user. So there are content recommendation engines, there are sponsored rows where you can put in your content and drive people into your content space. A lot of formats that are going to get innovated. We have a mastered format which as soon as you turn on the TV, you have like a big banner coming up which is again going to interact with you. So in 2007, there was a famous statement by Steve Jobs saying that you can touch your music. This is the time you can touch your ad, you can click your ad on the TV. So that journey from touching the music to clicking an ad on television is how far we have come across in terms of innovations. And those will keep on continuing because TVs of today and TVs of tomorrow in the future are going to be more interactive and are going to become like the most innovative space in terms of advertising.
And what do you think, how these formats align with the viewing habits and expectations of CTV audience?
See, viewing habits are already changing. So if you look at today, people used to just toy around with this term called cord cutters. But today we can exactly tell you how many people are real cord cutters because streaming is becoming like a new normal. And our own assessment internally says 40% of our TV owners are by default streamers who do not even watch a linear TV content given in the entire month.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Because see, the thing is that we want to, as Mindshare and Group M overall, the very clear-cut definitions about, I mean, cord cutters might be still a relatively small segment, but when you add cord cutters and cord shavers, which are essentially people who have a set-top box, but also have a connected TV, then that universe becomes massive.
Absolutely, and see, good that he just pointed out. So if you look at the cord cutters plus cord shavers, people who have a set-top box, but who don't even have a narrative, wo renew kar dete hain because somebody in the house is still dependent on that remote control. But as a by default choice, given a by default choice, they don't even switch on to any linear content. And people are see, all this comes from the fact that cable or linear feed is not the default content consumption stream anymore. You have multiple choices available. You have your own favorite shows which don't even come onto your cable feed, but you are looking at that content. So the content is going to be the pull, and how smart TV is going to tomorrow change the viewership patterns is being noticed today because by default you're not turning on your Tata Skies or Airtel streams. You're going on to a Netflix, you are going on to an Amazon Prime, or you're going on to Disney Plus. So these are indicators today that how the viewership is today completely changing, and no longer the most elder of the house is interacting with the TV. The youngest doesn't even know कि वो remote control पे कभी 1 to 10 button होते थे. He just only knows to talk to the TV. See, this is the main difference. Yeah.
I totally agree with you, Vikram. So my next question is to Chandrahas. The ad experience on CTV still leaves a lot to be desired. If we want to unlock the true potential of addressable TV, how important it is to get the CTV ad break experience right for streaming audience and advertisers.
I think it's a collective effort, right? Everyone has to get it right? It's advertisers, it's publishers, it's tech partners like us, right? So currently, we did a Magnite survey and we got to know about 84% of the audiences are currently satisfied with the ad experience, right? But if you see the ad break is not more than 2 minutes, 1 or 2 minutes max is there, right? With more and more people shifting to connected TVs, that ad break, I'm hoping that ad break is going to increase to 3 minutes or 4 minutes, right? So when that happens, we need to make sure that the ad experience is seamless. Also, I was on one of the streaming platforms, and in just a span of less than 30 minutes, I saw about 3 same ads running, right? So that's not the best experience to deliver. What publishers can do and tech platforms like us can enable is those creative deduplication that usually happens. You can avoid that. Frequency management could be done so much better, right? Where you can do a frequency for the entire campaign or maybe a day or something where you're not seeing the same ad again and again, right? So ad experience plays a very, very crucial part, and the survey also said that about 71% of the audiences, if they have bad experience, right, they will switch over from that streaming platform. So no one wants that to happen. And we have, so there are technologies, like I said, right? A Spring Service there who can ensure that the creative deduplication happens, or maybe competitive ad separation is also something that advertisers or publishers would want. So these technologies could be enabled to have the best of experience when it comes to on CTV or maybe any other device.
Of course. So, Vikram, a passing concern for media buyers is the lack of transparency and standardized metadata in the CTV environment. So what progress has the industry made in addressing the issue and developing standardized practices?
See, the biggest transparency that will come into TV is basically the entire narrative around ad tech and how you are able to plan based on the deliverables that already are saying on the dashboard. One of the concerns, see, transparency has always been an issue with media buying, but the only narrative that can solve is the introduction of tech and how are you able to get as much media efficiency from your buying. And it's not about the publishers like us, because if you look at the larger community as a whole has to work together to build a narrative around trust and transparency. Sharing accurate numbers, giving all the visibility to what the data has been targeted and everything. This is where the narrative around programmatic or any buys, any automation around buying happens. And once you have that as a first guardrail or possibly the first port of call, that can be the source of transparency where you can drive. So you only pay for what you have bought. You don't pay for what you have not bought. And eventually with digital coming in or with tech getting introduced into the entire narrative, definitely transparency is always, you have to work on transparency every day. Trust and transparency is not a one-day nail job that you just hit, okay, I'm transparent. No. Just making sure that you introduce tech, give as much visibility to the stakeholders who are involved in the entire journey of your media buying play, and that's how it is. It's going to be a work that the industry needs to do together. And I think TV as a overall is a very well-oiled machinery. Just an introduction of tech is going to possibly bring in a lot of visualized narrative to every stakeholder, and thus that's how transparency comes in. And definitely, it's work in progress. Every ad tech journey has been that. We went through that in digital. I think TV also is going through that journey, and it's going to be an over a period of time when transparency and trust also starts coming in.
Okay, so Western marketers are increasing, embracing CTV, and while the progress is being made in India, the country has its unique challenges and opportunities. So Vikram, what strategy should Indian stakeholders employ to adapt and capitalize on the growth of CTV?
I would let Rajit answer that question because he deals with the complete advertiser ecosystem. He's one of the veterans to answer that question.
Okay, Rajit, please do.
Well, I mean, see, as with any a product or service which happens, it is a niche thing which happens right at the start amongst early adopters, innovators. We will take it at a particular point in time. But when you find the ease of use and quality consumer experience which is there as a thing, it just cuts across. And I'm going to give you a personal example about what happens in my house. I'm a cord shaver, by the way, and not a cord cutter from a connected TV standpoint.
+1.
And so, my parents happen to live with me. They are hooked onto the show on Star Plus called Anupama. And they watch it at 10 o'clock every day. The point is that they do not even know that they are, so at a particular point in time, they would watch the show at 10 o'clock. And we used to have this Tata Play recording device, so they could catch up in case they missed that particular thing. Now they don't need to do that. They don't even know that they're actually on Hotstar, Disney Plus Hotstar, and they're consuming that content. So when you look at markets, I'm just looking at markets and what demographics. So it's the expansion of demographic which has happened. No longer young alone. Of course, the youngsters will drive. But that same behavior is penetrating deeper and deeper in terms of the audiences across markets. So while it will still be a largely urban phenomenon, it's just a matter of time before it catches up across the board everywhere.
So knowingly or unknowingly, the medium of content consumption will slowly move towards streaming.
Yeah.
And that's how, so if you look at the narrative around how streaming concurrency happened during the World Cup, so the way his parents have seeing Anupama on Hotstar, my mother sees it on Tata Play. So there are two examples here. They don't know they are on streaming, and my mother still doesn't know whether it's available on streaming. So knowingly or unknowingly, the content consumption is slowly going to move towards an agnostic play, and TV is just like a unified device, watching the same content,
device,
but on different, through different mediums. One is streaming and one is the cord. So it's how it is going to evolve, and India is always going to be complex, so you need to have everything. So connected TV is going to be a very widespread phenomenon. Outside the tier 1 markets, if you look at, we can afford a smart TV, which is today like a 25,000 of an MRP, but it also makes a very fit use case for an household which has just recently bought a TV 3 years ago, can use a stick or a dongle to come onto the CTV bandwagon. But we are a very diversified market. Nothing can be generalized here. And I think the road to evolution is 10 years. So once, I think 2035 should be a market where we should be completely moving to streaming, and it's like a journey.
Yeah, it's a complementing to TV medium.
Absolutely.
Complementing to linear TV. Well, linear TV is not dead by any odds.
It will never be. It will never be dead. It's there's a coexistence, and these are all complementing to your linear TV, because in the remotest of the areas, you still do not have broadband and Wi-Fi. We are just today looking at the 30% of India, and the chase to broadband is going to, and see, if you look at our pre-2016, our data consumption was not huge, but post 2016, today we consume tons of data on our mobile. This is just a phenomenon which happened on mobile. Now the same phenomenon is going to be replicated into the broadband ecosystem. But that is going to be, that's a play which is 5 years. Once you have that level of penetration and you are able to penetrate beyond tier 1 markets, that is where the new audiences are going to join the streaming bandwagon.
I think content is what matters, right? So wherever it's delivered, if it's on TV, it's a CTV, doesn't matter, right? So both are going to coexist, right? And it will continue to happen. One is digitally delivered, one content is digitally delivered, and second is through broadband services. So same instance happened at our home as well, where the cable went off, right? Now you want to watch Anupama and these kind of shows, right? How do you do it? And sometimes you need a little bit of push, right? Where you move from your just dialing those numbers to now logging onto YouTube or maybe other platforms as well. So I think gradually, like Vikram said, that everyone will move to streaming devices, and content is the key driver there, wherever it goes, whichever sense.
Of course. So my last question is, what do you believe is the most crucial aspect of CTV experiences that needs improvement or innovation?
You want to go first?
I think it's going to be a stable data connection. Yeah. Because eventually anything that you need to today look at is, first of all, is your TV buying experience, whether you have a relevant hardware, and then is how you have a seamless data narrative. Advertising is the far off scenario. First is it's going to be like a stable setup.
Yeah, I mean, see, so because we are in a forum of agency reporter where we are essentially looking at the advertiser and brands coming in as a thing. I think, see, we have great content which is there for consumers on SWOT.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, the first thing which, as an advertiser, what I would really love and want to have at all points of time is great, equally good quality of content coming in on AVOD, because that is when the brands will be able to really get the same value and experience. So, is well known, Netflix moving to a AVOD model in some parts of the thing, or semi-AVOD in some part. Those are the things which we really look forward to, because otherwise there is a segment of audience which is currently not watching TV, which is not watching and which is hugely valuable as an advertiser, and that's something which I want, and I'm not able to get as well as I would have liked to have.
Absolutely. I think what Chandrahas said is ultimately content is going to drive the entire smart TV or a CTV narrative, and the recommendation and the discovery mechanisms across your platforms is going to drive the pull, and advertisers have to think beyond or possibly make it a linear plus CTV strategy. They cannot in isolation only plan for cable TV. It will have to be linear plus CTV put together, where you would reach the holistic TV experience rather than just addressing only the 60% of the, and we see this pie at Samsung, we monitor this, we see this pie growing or degrowing based on any tentpole event. So if you look at, we're just trying to pull out the data pre-World Cup and post-World Cup, I'm pretty much sure that it's going to again skew plus minus 5% in anyone's favor. So streamers and non-streamers. So this is, eventually it's the part 2 content consumption and ultimately the content pull, what is going to drive the experience going forward.
See, I think there is a lot of work that is required in the coming years as well. As tech partners, we are always asked this question that in CTV space, how can we build reach and frequency, right? It's so fragmented that how do we build reach and frequency collectively? I think it needs an industry effort. Everyone needs to come together. And there are a couple of solutions that is built by IAB. There are templates that have been given because today store IDs are so much, are all unique to each of the CTV platforms, right? So that is one challenge which I see is still there, but I think it's an industry effort that will take in the coming years where everyone comes together and tries to solve for reach and frequency, because you don't want to, like one of the panelists also earlier to this said that if there is a creative that's been delivered, right, on a certain content, you want to then further deliver the next add content with a different creative altogether. Why just give the same creative? So that level of maybe tech can be enabled, but I think industry effort is required there.
Thank you so much, Chandrahas,
Thank you,
Vikram, and Rajat.
thank you.